Hey, welcome to my channel, Alicia Cubbage Watercolor Artist. I am Alicia and I have been using my channel up to this point to post progress videos and of my artwork and other related announcements. However, this video is the start of a series for my new book called Sweet Tooth. I'm creating a video with illustrations and narration for each chapter of the book and will post them here on my channel. I am undecided at this point if I want to narrate them myself or use an AI voice-over program. For chapter 1, I've decided to narrate it myself, so you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments. Constructive criticism is welcome. I want to make each new video better than the previous one, so please just let me know how it can improve. Also, I did do some looking at whether or not AI would be good for a voiceover program, and it's really pretty good. Speechify is doing really well, but I decided to do the first narration myself until I have more time to look into it. Also, here's a synopsis of the book, so you know what you're getting into. If it doesn't sound like your kind of story, then you can move on to another video or another channel. If your interest is piqued and you want to know more, then definitely keep watching. All right, hopefully you are still here, and if you are, then let's get into it. Sweet Tooth. Written and illustrated by Alicia Cubbage. Chapter 1. The Cookies. Copyright 2024, Alicia A. Cubbage, all rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photocopying, recording, or other electronic or mechanical methods, without the prior written permission of the publisher, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. Artwork by Alicia A. Cubbage, story written and edited by Alicia A. Cubbage, narrated by Alicia A. Cubbage. Note, this video is a work of fiction made up entirely from the author's imagination. Any resemblance of people or places is purely coincidence. Permissions request, please write to the publisher, addressed Attention Permissions Coordinator. Publisher information, Alicia A. Cubbage, www.aliciacubbage.com, email, alicia@aliciacubbage.com. Home of Sarah Bruno, New England. Ugh, another damn cookie commercial. Sarah looked up from her vacuum just in time to see a pair of feminine hands appear on the TV screen. Beautifully manicured hands held a giant, freshly baked chocolate chip cookie. Sarah watched the hands break and pull apart the cookie as warm, gooey chocolate tendrils strung between the two pieces. Her mouth watered at the sight. For crying out loud, that must be the 5th cookie commercial in the last hour. Sarah muttered, frustration tightening her chest. She switched off the vacuum, stomped 5 feet to the coffee table, and grabbed the remote. She hastily jabbed at the remote with her thumb, changing the channel. Another one? She jabbed again, and another one. Sarah changed the channel again and froze. What the hell? She held the remote with her thumb hovering over the channel up-down buttons and stared at the screen, her eyes wide and mouth open in disbelief. How can that be? She asked the empty living room. Every change of the channel showed another cookie commercial. They were different cookies and brands, but they were all commercials for pre-made cookie dough, the kind that comes in a tube to be sliced up and baked in the oven, allowing the buyer to have freshly baked cookies without the mess. What is this, cookie hour? Sarah looked down at the remote in her hand with a suspicious glare, as if she expected it to turn into a snake and bite her. She gingerly pushed the up channel button again as she squeezed her eyes shut and crossed the fingers of her free hand. Please, 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 not another cookie commercial. I might run out of here screaming if it is. She chanted the words internally, using them like a magic incantation. She slowly opened her eyes and peeked through her lashes at the TV. Sarah sighed in relief, and her entire body relaxed as the tension left her. On the TV screen, the morning newscaster was talking about a new health study. Not another cookie commercial. A loud melody jangled in the room, and Sarah jumped. A jolt of electricity coursed through her body at the sudden intrusion of noise. She looked around the room for her cell phone and spotted it on the kitchen island. Sarah loved her open-concept apartment, with its clear sightlines from the living room into the kitchen. She awkwardly stumbled to the island, her body stiff from the sudden startle. Sarah picked up the phone and, without looking at the caller ID, pushed the accept call button. Hello? She was almost shouting and slightly out of breath. Sarah, it's Julie. What's wrong? Julie's voice came through the phone speaker, and Sarah's body relaxed again. She hiccuped a giggle, berating herself for getting so worked up. Jeez, maybe I am going crazy. Oh, hi, Julie. I'm so glad it's you. The strangest things just happened. Sarah stammered, and as the words left her mouth, she felt her body relax a little more. She noticed her fingers were still grasping the phone in a death grip, and moved the phone to the opposite hand and ear. She flexed her fingers in the stiff hand, working the blood back into them. Why? What happened? Julie asked. Concern edged her voice. Julie and Sarah had been friends for years, and she could always tell when Sarah was rattled just by her voice. There was no point in trying to sugarcoat it or make it sound less unbelievable. Julie would only poke and prod Sarah until she finally admitted all the details of her state of alarm. Well, Sarah hesitated. I was just vacuuming the living room, and I looked up at the TV to see a commercial for cookies. Not so strange by itself, except that it was the 5th one I've seen in the last hour. She stopped talking, trying to gather the courage to tell Julie the part that had truly creeped her out. Sarah was a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and had extracted looks of disbelief and doubt from Julie on multiple occasions with her theories. Okay, out with the rest. Let's hear it, came Julie's voice through the phone. Sarah took a deep breath and spit the rest out in a fast, rambling, run-on sentence. I decided to change the channel. The next channel had another cookie commercial. Not the same commercial, a different commercial about cookies. I changed the channel again, another cookie commercial. And then again, another cookie commercial. All different channels, all different cookies and brands. I got so freaked out that I stopped, closed my eyes, and prayed for the next channel not to be a cookie commercial. I pushed the remote button again, and it was the news, and then you called. Sarah was relieved to get it out of her head, but apprehensive about Julie's reaction. Silence on the other line. Julie? Sarah called softly. Yes, I'm here. Julie responded. Her tone was flat, and Sarah cringed. So what do you have against cookies anyway? Julie asked Sarah, trying to lighten the mood. Nothing. It's just that I started the new diet, remember? And cookies are my nemesis, the one kind of junk food I can't resist. It felt like deliberate sabotage. What are the odds of every channel showing a commercial for cookies simultaneously? She listened expectantly for Julie's reply. A few very long seconds of silence came from the phone. Listen, Sarah, it could have been any number of things. Maybe it's the prime day and time for that type of commercial, and all the food companies know it. Or there was a sale for commercial spots for that time. Or maybe there's a baking competition somewhere, and all the networks are ramping up their baked goods exposure. You know, strike while the iron is hot and all that. Julie paused, took a deep breath, and let it out. Besides, do you honestly think that people at the food companies know you're on a diet, are recovering from cookie addiction, and are purposely trying to sabotage you? To what end? I mean, come on, Sarah. Now there was the slightest hint of annoyance in her voice. Well, I don't know, maybe. Sarah felt her face redden with embarrassment. Ever since I received the report back from the 23 for Me kit, I have felt like I'm being watched. There was silence on the other end of the phone, then an audible sigh. What has happened to make you think that? Julie asked. Sarah nervously chewed on her bottom lip, regretting that she had said anything to Julie. Little things here and there, they all add up. The flyers I get in the mail all have sweet treats and candy. I received a cookie catalog from a company I had never heard of or ordered from. My Facebook feed keeps showing me recipes and articles for cookies, even though I keep blocking them every time I see them. I mean, I'm trying to get my weight under control and reduce my risk of diabetes. The 23andMe report showed that I have DNA that predisposes me to sugar sensitivity. But since I got the report back, I've been bombarded with imagery of the very things I'm trying to avoid. Sarah shifted her weight from one foot to the other, caught her breath, and then deflated. I don't know for what purpose, Julie. I just know that I felt like I'm being watched, and there can only be so many coincidences. Her shoulders slumped, her body sagged against the counter, and she felt drained. You know what you need? Julie's saying from her end of the line. You need a day at the beach. I'm coming over. I'll be there in 45 minutes. Get your bathing suit on and your beach bag ready. I'm taking you away from the TV flyers and Facebook. 8 hours media ban starts when I arrive. Prepare yourself. Julie hung up the phone before Sarah could reply. A media ban and beach time are exactly what I need. Sarah smiled to herself and felt her chest warm. Julie always knew what to do to help Sarah out of her funk. Sarah moved slowly from the kitchen to the living room, warily eyeing the TV and silently hoping it didn't suddenly switch to another cookie commercial. The local meteorologist was on the screen pointing at a map of New England with blazing sun cartoons and high-temperature images hovering over several towns. It was going to be another hot one. She leaned down toward the coffee table, slowly inching closer and closer to the remote. When her hand was within 2 inches, she lunged, snatched it up, and pushed the off button as fast as she could, feeling a rush of panic rising in her chest and making her heart pound in her ears. With the TV off, she let out her breath, not noticing that she had been holding it since she left the kitchen. Sarah caught her reflection on the darkened TV screen. She did a double take, noticing the fear in her eyes and her frazzled mussed hair. Jesus, you look ridiculous, she exclaimed accusingly at her reflection. She jerked, stood up straight, and dropped the remote on the coffee table. Enough of this nonsense, she said, giving her whole body a quick shake, trying to dislodge the previous 10 minutes from her mind. I've got to get ready for the beach.